Stock Exchange of Mumbai was established as the Native Share and Stock Brokers Association on the 9th of July 1875 by a handful of traders who gathered under a banyan tree at Horniman Circle to trade in stocks. Today, with a membership of 639 brokers and a market capitalization of 8,033 million rupees, the Stock Exchange of Mumbai has grown.
Pot of people from different races, cultures, and places. We cherish this cosmopolitan heritage. We celebrate its value. We are proud of the spirit of enterprise it has fostered. We have a long tradition of radical ideas, the education of women and safety net for the rural poor through guaranteed employment and uniting small producers through cooperatives are all products of this tradition. Today, we continue to look outwards. The new age calls for the empowerment of people at all levels. I believe this demands a commitment to liberalization, thrust on infrastructure, private participation in core sectors, a red carpet approach to investment, and a central place for human development. This is exactly the direction we have chosen. We look to you as a partner. We have innovation of enterprise, a global outlook, a modern business and work culture, and strong infrastructure and services. We are India's economic powerhouse, and Mumbai is our country's commercial capital. These strengths provide a foundation for emerging sectors of new economy, e-commerce, IT-enabled services, financial services, leisure and entertainment, and media and communication. We have the largest and most diverse infrastructure for IT in the country. We have established India's largest IT software service park close to Mumbai. The scope for mutual benefits in these sectors is tremendous. My new government is recasting policies and procedures so that private initiative can flourish and industry can achieve global standards. Our future thrust is towards labor reforms and freeing business and industry from outdated methods of control. Mr. President, these are exciting times for us. We look to you for support in technology, exchange of new ideas, and collaborations in infrastructure and basic research and development. Your historic visit will set a new tone and standard for our partnership. As our great reformer and poet Sant Jnaneshwar said, Bhuta paraspare pado maitre jivache. Let ties of intimate friendship strengthen among all beings. Thank you very much.
It's BSE's proud privilege and honor to extend a warm welcome of President of USA, Mr. Clinton, to Bombay Stock Exchange, the oldest stock exchange in Asia with 125 years of glorious existence. This magnificent hall used to be the trading floor of BSE, echoing with open outcry of our member brokers. 5 years back, the electronic trading system was inaugurated in this very hall. We have witnessed with great admiration the growth of capital markets in US during the presidency of Honorable Mr. Clinton, amply demonstrating its role in creating and distributing wealth. Capital markets have thus become the most powerful engine of economic growth. Indian capital markets have also achieved exponential growth in the last 5 years. Just to give an example, daily turnover on our exchanges has increased from just 100 million a day to more than $3 billion a day, higher than even Hong Kong and Japan at times. Technologically also, we are ahead of most other exchanges in the world. However, we have still to exploit fully the potential fire of genius of Indian entrepreneurs, particularly in technology and knowledge sector. A large number of Indian and American entrepreneurs present in this hall today have proven that given the freedom and a well-developed capital market, Indian can be very successful businessman, second to none. I'm very happy to accord our also warm welcome to Honorable President Clinton, not only as the President of USA, but also as a legendary statesman of both 20th and 21st century, with unmatched charisma. I'm sure that his visit to BSE will prove to be a lucky omen for business and capital markets in India. Thank you very much.
Mr. G.P. Goenka, President of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, better known as FICCI, welcomed the American President.
On behalf of FICCI, the Apex Chamber of Indian Business, and on behalf of our counterpart in Washington, USIVC, I welcome you warmly this evening, Mr. President. The humankind stands at a watershed. We are on the threshold of the third revolution, which will redefine the very concept of time, space, and habits of our mind. And you have carried your nation to the cutting edge of this revolution. We applaud you, Mr. President, for your tremendous leadership. We also believe that the 21st century will witness the ascendancy of India to the status of a global power. Your historic visit, sir, has riveted into place a unique partnership between our two great nations, a partnership defined by the power of knowledge and the dynamics of private enterprise. The signing of our bilateral business protocol on knowledge, which took place moments before your arrival. However, the challenge for us all is to include the common men and women of our two nations, particularly our own folks in India, into this emerging brave new world. It is here that we seek your vision, founded on your innate sense of compassion, yet propelled by your deep commitment to the frontiers of knowledge and technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you the President of the United States of America, William Jefferson Clinton.
From the time Mr. Clinton took the stage to the time he finished his speech, the audience listened with rapt attention to what the US President had to say about India-US business relations and India's potential to become a world player.
Thank you. Thank you, President Gonka. Chief Minister Deshmukhi, my good friend Ambassador Wisner, my colleague and longtime friend Ambassador Celeste, Secretary Daley, our distinguished crowd here, we thank you for welcoming us. I have brought quite a group from the United States, including 6 members of our Congress. And we were just down in Hyderabad, and I asked the crowd to acknowledge them because I always got to give the speech. They always have to listen. But when we go home, they control all the money. So I would like to acknowledge the presence here of Congressman Jim McDermott, Congressman Gary Ackerman, Congressman Ed Royce, Representative Sheila Jackson-Lee, Representative Nita Lowey, and Representative Jan Schakowsky, all members of the United States House of Representatives. We thank them for coming. This has been a remarkable week, and I think a wonderful week for me and my daughter Chelsea, who's here, and for our entire American delegation. We came as friends to a changing India, to gain a better understanding of your country, your views, in order to build a new partnership on a higher level than that which we have experienced over the last 22 years. If you imagine the world you would like to see 10 years from now or 20 years from now, if you imagine how you would like India to be 10 or 20 years from now, it is difficult to believe that the world you would like and the India you would like can be achieved without a deeper and better partnership of mutual respect and common endeavor with the United States. I can also say grateful for the presence of the American ambassador, one former American ambassador to India, and the Indian ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Charter, that I cannot imagine the world that I want for my children's generation in America that does not include a deeper and better partnership with India. And so I came here to try to build it, or at least to have the foundations there before my time as president is done. Already, as all of you well know, America is the largest trading partner and investor for India. This week, American companies signed about 24 agreements to create or advance projects worth another $4 billion. And I'm very pleased that our Export-Import Bank will make available $1 billion in new financing for small and medium-sized businesses in India to export to the United States. This week we have strengthened our commitment to work together to protect the environment, to promote clean energy, to fight against deadly diseases, to use science and technology to help people rise from poverty. I visited a small village in Rajasthan yesterday, and you probably saw the pictures in the paper where I was dancing with the village ladies. It was pretty good odds. There were about 30 of them and one of me. And they were throwing, the children were throwing flowers, petals of flowers on us. But the reason we were dancing was because of the time we had shared before. And I saw the work that was being done in a poor village to lift the lives of women, to give them access to credit, to give them support in the workplace, to keep their children, including their girl children, in school. I saw the role of men and women and people of different tribes and castes working together in the local government unit. And so there was cause for celebration. Today in Hyderabad, when I was there, I talked to representatives of all 23 districts of the state in a teleconference about the same sorts of activities that are occurring. I say that because I believe that while there is plainly a digital divide in India and a digital divide in the United States, not just from place to place, but within every city where there is a strong business group well connected to the new economy. The truth is that the information age gives us the chance to eliminate poverty more quickly for more people than ever before in all of human history. And I saw that yesterday when I was in this little village of Nyla. And there was a computer hookup to the state and federal government so that all the people could come in and find out what all the services were that were available to them. And there were printouts so that the women could get actual prints that they could take home that would tell them how to take better care of their children. And someday every village will have all the educational software available anywhere in the world on it, so that in the poorest villages of India or Africa or China or Latin America, people will be able to print out for their school children the most modern educational materials available anywhere, so that people in the poorest villages of the world will have access to the same learning materials that the people in the richest schools in the United States or any other country have today. If we do this right, we will find that doing what is morally right, consistent with the values of India, the sense of community and mutual responsibility, also turns out to be very good economics in the information age. Because you need more education, you need more people with the capacity to make the most of this new economy. The same thing is true with the environment. All over the world today, there's a general consensus that the climate is warming too quickly, and that the consequences are likely to be disastrous. I met with a man doing malaria research shortly before I came here tonight, and we talked about how troubling it was that malaria is now being found at higher and higher altitudes in countries all across the globe where it's manifest, so that it's attacking people in villages that have never seen it before, and they're much more vulnerable and likely to have many more problems. All a consequence of the changing environment. But in the information age, no nation has to grow rich by putting more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And in fact, there will be enormous opportunities for India, millions and millions of jobs, $1 trillion global market in developing alternative energy sources, maximizing the use of new energy technologies, the development of fuel for automobiles from farm sources all over the world. It will change the world in the next 5 years about as much as the internet has changed it in the last 5. And it will do nothing but help India. It will reduce the pressures on your people to continue practices that lead to soil erosion or the loss of precious species. Yesterday, I went to the Ranthambore National Park, and I saw 2 magnificent Bengal tigers. One, a vast male tiger named Boomerang. Interesting name for a tiger. And the other, a female tiger. Rather like often happens, the female was doing all the work in this setting. She was stalking a herd of deer. And it was an amazing sight to behold. Already this year, 20 tigers have been killed in India, even though it is not legal to do so. All these competing economic pressures. I hope all of you will help to preserve your tiger population. It's an important part of India's heritage. But I think we all understand that the stronger and more diversified the economy gets, the easier it will be to preserve the species, to preserve the environment, to restore the magnificent historical and cultural artifacts that dot the countryside in every part of this magnificent country. So we have a lot at stake in this. So does the United States. You know, we have in Silicon Valley alone 750 companies started by Indian Americans. 750 in Silicon Valley alone. We have seen the country literally transform because of the infusion of new talent from people from all over the world, but we have been especially blessed by people from India and indeed from throughout South Asia. And as I look at the world of tomorrow, a world that I hope will be characterized by peace and prosperity, by a genuine commitment to the dignity of all people, by societies which celebrate their ethnic, their racial, their tribal, their religious diversity, but are bound together by a common acceptance that the humanity we all share is even more important than the differences among us. I know the world will never be that way unless South Asia is that way. And I have seen in these local experiments in India something I wish for all the world. Yesterday in that little village where I am known now only for dancing not very well with the village women, I talked to people on the local government council who told me that they now had 10 of their tribes and castes represented in their local government. That for the first time in the history of the village, people from different groups were regularly dining together. Now, it seems like a little thing, but if you consider the fact that 800,000 people, more or less, were killed in the Rwandan tribal wars in the space of 100 days, that 1 million people were driven from their homes in Kosovo simply because they were Muslim in a country that was mostly Serbian and Orthodox Christian, that the Irish troubles had been going on for 30 years, that in the Middle East people still die because of their faith and ethnic background. And I could go on and on and on. It was a truly remarkable thing to see that in a local community in India, people were worried about how they could get clean water. And it didn't matter much what your caste or tribe was. And they were rather proud of the fact that women as well as men were in the government, and that their positions were to some extent guaranteed. And they couldn't even remember why they didn't want to have dinner together anymore. This may seem small to you, but if you have seen people like I have seen them, a widow in Rwanda who woke up to see her husband and 6 children cut to death all around her, just because of the tribe they were in. If you had been in the refugee camps that I've been in the Balkans, in Bosnia and Kosovo, to see people run out just because of their religious faith, it is not something to be lightly discarded. If you can figure out how to take what I saw yesterday at the village level and keep working until you reach some sort of acceptable accommodation on the other larger problems on this subcontinent, there's no stopping you. I really do believe that if India, and of course, as I said in my speech to the Parliament, you'll have to make all these decisions yourself, and we don't agree on every issue, and we shouldn't, and friends don't have to agree on every issue. They just have to have an honest relationship about it. And then whoever's supposed to make the decision has to make the decision. But I do believe if we can lead the region, or you can, away from the proliferation of dangerous weapons toward the proliferation of new ideas, new companies, and new technologies, away from the kind of racial and ethnic tensions that we see now in the trouble spots in South Asia, toward the sort of harmony I saw in that little village yesterday, then the dreams that your chief minister spoke of are well within your grasp. I believe that if we work together to turn our common vision into common progress, to educate our children as partners, to fight disease as partners, to protect our environment as partners, to expand commerce as partners, to lift the lives of the poorest among us as partners,
left Mumbai and bid farewell to India after a 5-day visit, during which he met several prominent Indians. Although Mr. Clinton did not make any political or economic statement in his speech, his visit nevertheless had a positive impact on both the Indian as well as American business community. The visit of the president of NASDAQ soon after Mr. Clinton's visit was a welcome one. It endorsed the fact that the stock exchange Mumbai has become a truly globalized exchange. For the year 2000, the BSE has adopted the mission of reinforcing its position as the most investor-friendly, self-regulated and efficient exchange of the country, which will further make it a world player of significance. That the BSE is thinking for the future can be gauged by the fact that it has already charted a course for the years ahead. The BSE's Mission 2001 is to become technology-savvy, investor-friendly, and a premier exchange, while its vision for the year 2005 is to become the exchange of choice globally. With 125 glorious years of tradition, trust, and transparency under its belt, the Stock Exchange Mumbai is poised to make its magnificent inheritance into the future.